Good evening, and welcome to me, Voice of the Forge, in the FiveShards weekly event, starting at midnight, British summer time. I've logged in a little earlier just to make sure that the recording is up and running well before we start, and we have had quite a weekend of news, so let's kick back and whilst it's upsetting that events have happened in Turkey and Nice, let's forget about the real world for however long I can manage to stay into the tournament. It is a single elimination tournament, so as soon as I lose a match that's best of 3, then I am out and I will end the stream there. Well, I say stream, I haven't quite got everything running to work as a stream, so I record and then upload afterwards. Anyone who's watching, I thank you for your time. I am Voice of the Forge, and we are about to start. And if we look through here, can I find out where I am? I have got Horror Eisen. Okay, so in 30 seconds we should start the round, and I will see how well my bunnies deck does this week. Yes, that is right, I play the Shin Hair faction purely because I love the fact we've got samurai bunnies as a faction. That to me is absolutely awesome. And so far I have had very little luck with this deck, but then it is almost an eco deck in terms of the terminology in Hex. At the end of the day, I am playing for fun, and in many ways I am sure that I'm teaching you how not to play the game, so that whilst we're doing this, there we go. Right, so we're getting into the tournament now. And I hope that whilst you watch this, you learn from my mistakes, so that as things go on, oh no, it's not Wintermoon. Oh yes, it is Wintermoon. Oh dear, I don't like Wintermoon. I will keep what I have, and we shall go from here. So, I'm just waiting for Wintermoon to input, and I have a couple of interesting cards here, so we'll see what happens. Right, so we'll get off to a flying start as usual, with the Cottontail Ronin, one of my favourites. 0-2, where with the rage mechanic, and I love the rage mechanic in this because the power stays. So not only is it the fact that you get 1 when you attack, but you also get the fact that it stays, so that next turn it is a 1-2. As you can see from here, I will attack, and automatically I go to a 1-2. Is he going to declare defense? Yes, he is. Crackling Surge makes him bigger, kills his card, and means that I can do a point of crush, and I have been able to play an extra bunny, because that is my commander for this, Monica Shin, my champion, and she allows me to get extra bunnies into play, which means that I can then do more things. Now unfortunately I have got a hand of very low casting cost cards. So, oh dear, next troop, when you may have it battle target opposing troop. Oh dear, this could be a bit messy. but we shall see. So end opponent's turn, my turn, and continue to combat. I have a couple of options here. And we shall see what happens. Is he going to block, or is he going to take the damage? Going to take the damage. Yes. No. Cancel. Cancel. Just do the straight combat damage. I've got a better idea for that later on. And we'll see what happens. So he's about to let me end my phase. I have a 2-2. And let's see what he pulls out that he can battle me this turn. Of course, that's his choice. And I don't know what that was, but okay. He's now got an... oh, he's running 3 threshold. Okay. So, Starlight Pathfinder, okay. If it's prophesied and in your hand, reveal it, put this into your hand. Right, okay. And he's played that. Now, is he going to do something else? No. He's ending his turn. Okay. I don't want to carry on playing this way, but I'm going to have to. Okay, let's see what he does now. I'm now a 3-2, and he's got a 2-2 Swift Strike and Flight, by the looks of him. He's blocking with both. Interesting, because I'm now going to play that. The fact that I left the one from behind before didn't matter over much because I pulled another one, but that did give me extra, which means I can do the combat damage to both of those, kill them both, and live. Which now gives me quite a nice card advantage in terms of the playing field. At the moment I'm still a little stuck with my threshold and my mana, but I can ramp up relatively easy now. That's a 2-4, and if it gets 2-2 and Flight, if it's a Coyotl, it gets this power. Oh, that's nasty. And I'm going I'm going to have to keep on playing this way. Yeah, okay, he's doing stuff there that I don't know about. Resolve, he's now going to kill my guy, isn't he? No, that's the end of phase, and opponent's turn. Right, I'm obviously missing something somewhere. And I will continue to bait this guy and find out what he's going to do now. I'm now a 4-2. He's going to block, and I'm going to Crackling Sprout again. He's not going to be happy with me because that's now 6-4, which kills that and keeps it alive just. And we now go back to his turn. Now I've run out of Crackling Sprouts, so anything he wants to do to kill off my character, he can now do. However, I have now got another Cottontail Ronin in hand, along with Howling Braves. Yeah, resolve. Yeah, whatever. I don't know what he's doing, but... Prophecy. When there's another Coyotl enters play, the next troop gets +1/+1, and it enters play, you may have it battle target opposing troop. Okay. Does he want to battle me? He knows he'll kill it, but it also means he'll lose his creature. No, he's killed my hopper. Interesting choice. End opponent's turn. My turn. And this time we are going all out. Continue to combat. Doesn't matter if he stops me or not. He's got to look at his life total. He's got to be thinking about whether or not he wants to keep his current creature alive so that it passes on the ability, or whether or not I'm going to put him into single figures. The fact that I've just now pulled out 2 low casting cost creatures, he takes it. Risky move, because I've now got a really big creature on my hands. When this is the top card of the deck, you can see the top card of your deck. You can play the top card of your deck. Okay, interesting. Right, so what's he going to do now? Okay, that gives him something. And combat phase, he's not risking it. Is he risking it? At this moment in time, if he attacks, I will take the damage because I'm not going to lose my mana ramp from the Howling Braves. I at least want the Cottontail Ronin and the Guru of the Wounded Petal, and I am saved because now I will go gain 1 Cottontail Ronin, play that, play that, and this, and then I can bring out the Bucktooth Commander. Now straight away the Bucktooth Commander is now an absolutely massive threat. He cannot afford to let that live. But it does mean it costs him 1, if not both creatures. He's going to take it. It's a 3/2. I kill his bigger fatty. I've now got a 5/4 on hand that he can't touch. It's worth the risk because I have another Cottontail Ronin which can start growing next turn. Yep, that's a Brown Fox Scout again. The thing is, I now have 2 cards which outlast his, which means I might actually win this match out of 2. I'll play the Wild Shard. Gives me another thing. Alright, continue to combat. Straight away, he's got those. It's relatively obvious which one he's got to block in order to survive, but it does mean that things do get hairier for him because he's now on to... He's taken the damage. Interesting, because I've got many more creatures than he has, so all I've got to do is attack with everything but the Bucktooth Commander, and he won't be able to stop me from winning because I've got 3 creature overlap. Young Seer. Excuse me. Yes, and he's playing Coyotl. I know what he's supposed to be doing. He's supposed to be getting... Oh, hello, 5/6. Didn't see that coming. However, play that. He's got 2 creatures, right? He's on 2 life. Continue to combat. Everything but the Bucktooth Commander when he lets me play. Because it doesn't matter what he stops, he can't stop all of them. And it looks like he knew that. So we'll continue to the reserves phase. I don't have any reserves, so this is a minute and a half where I actually say, for the first time, I've actually won a match in tournament play with my bunnies deck, and I love my bunnies deck. There are cards that I am looking for that I haven't been able to get as of yet, purely because they're out of my reach in terms of practicality in the play set. Things like the Runir Hierophant and other bits and pieces. But not only that, this is also meant to be quite a fast overrun deck. And unfortunately it has been taken apart by the Venom Spiders and the Dwarven robots in the past, both of which have been able to outpace this deck in the middle game. This is a cheap deck. As I've said before, in the last 5 shards that I played it costs just over 500 plat. 800 plat will be yours for the grand sum of £5, which allows you to buy 4 sealed decks if you're interested in the draft play, or it allows you to buy one of the starter decks for the races because they cost 500 plat. I went a slightly different route. I started with the cards I had, played the campaign for a little while as a necrotic with the blood shard type instead of the wild shard type, and yeah, yeah, confirm. Move us into the next round, please. There we go. Yeah, so we'll see how things go, see if my opponent has modified his deck at all, and to see whether or not the card gods hold with me. Now, I have a Cottontail Ronin, I have a Sensei, and I have a Bucktooth. And I have 3 mana, which after my last game I'm really pleased about, because I saw, what, 2 mana and 3 ramp? Straight away we have the young Seer Coyotl come out, which starts boosting his deck, which could be bad news for me. End opponent's turn. My turn. I get a Feral Ogre. That'll do me nicely. And I'll see you a Cottontail Ronin. Your turn. What I'd really want is a Keeper of the Wounded Petal, who gets bigger every time I get another Shin Hair in hand, especially with having the Sensei in hand, because it means I could draw into another Shin Hair, which would then boost her again as a 1-drop. But it's one of those things, can't have it all. Don't know what's happening. Ah, there we go. He's got his second threshold and he's playing Elder of Visions 2/2. Right, so he's making his things bigger as they come in. So he's got a 2/2 there. So that means that he's possibly going to get the drop on me because I don't have the... Now, do I go for the Feral Ogre for the 3/2 or do I go for the Sensei for the card draw? I'll go for the Feral Ogre for the 3/2. That's the bigger threat at the moment, being able to take out their threats. And I have a Runeer, which I can tunnel. Yeah, Runeer, which I can tunnel instead of playing its normal cost next turn, and it will get bigger the more I've got in play. Yeah, see, 4/3. I've got a 3/2, which means that if he attacks with it, he knows he can lose it. So it all depends on what he's got in his hand and how he plays his hand. I have options, because I have my Bucktooth Commander, which means that my 0/2 will become 0/3. He's not attacking, so it's my turn. And what do I draw? I draw another Sensei. So, Wild Shard. I shall get another Battle Hopper, which helps the Runeer no end, and then I'll get a Bucktooth Commander. So there we go. We're now all a little bit bigger, apart from the Feral Ogre, because he's not a Shin Hair. He's an ogre, not a rabbit. And I know rabbits aren't technically the same as hares, but this is a fantasy game. They're kind of they're the same sort of thing, so we'll go from there. And he's gaining life by the looks of it and gaining threshold. Is he going to attack now with his boosted 4/3? Not whilst he can still do this. Create a copy of it and put it into... Oh, that's nice. That's interesting. I don't like the look of that. And then Replicator's Gambit. What? Okay, it's a rare card. Put target troop you control into your deck. It gets, when this enters play, create 6 replicas of this and put them into play. Does he get that now, or when he redraws that card? He gets that when he redraws his card, by the looks of it. That is going to be very nasty and puts me on a very fast clock, because he could get that at any time. Right, so I have a rune. Right, so yeah, I'm going to have to go for the sensei because I need mana. I need mana badly. And as luck would have it, I pull into the mana that I need, and then I'll play the Feral Ogre. Continue to combat. I'm not going to attack whilst he's got, I don't know, 3-2, 3-3. If I attacked with everything but the bunny, he's got 4, I've got 4 mana more powerful. I won't attack this turn purely because I know. So I've now got 2 Runeers back to back. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I can get more bunnies, it's drawing cards. I think. Is that another replicator's? It's another replicator's gambit. So he's going to try and seed his deck with those to get 6 big creatures out. That's why it's a gambit. I can see that. Okay. And he's pulling back replicator's gambit into his hand. I can see what he's doing with this deck, and I've got to stop him. End opponent's turn. My turn. Right. And I have just lucked into that draw. Now, continue to combat. And because I have the 1 crackling sprout, it means I can do something different. Declaring the blockers. Where are they going to go? What's he going to choose? This is a tense moment because basically, is that it? Okay. Crackling Sprout, keep him alive. Yeah, and crush. Continue to end phase. I've still got all of my creatures. If I can keep hold of my creatures, I can now start out with 2 big fatties, because the Runeers, when they come into play, get +1 for every other bunny. So he gets a charge. He's got another threshold. He's doing something with that card. What's he doing with this card? Starcaller Ancient. Oh yeah, and that's a legendary, that card. That's red. So yeah, I'm facing some powerful cards that I do not have my own. And he's not attacked, which gives me... Oh, do I go for the big fatty, or do I go for making them all a bit bigger? I will go for making them a bit bigger, and then play the Howling Brave. Continue to combat, because now I'm not putting Booktooth Commanders in the way, but my Moon Show Senseis can. Both of those can, and the Cottontail Ronin. And the Hopper is also a threat. What you gonna do now? You have to block one of the 3/3s, and you have to block one of the 4/4s. Otherwise, you're on next to no life. That'd put you on 8. That would put you on 3 life. And I think I have actually managed to, yeah, go for it. Yeah, he didn't block the biggest ones. Yeah. I have won! I have managed, for the first time, in a knockout tournament, to win both of my matches. You are in for a treat. I have won my first match, which means there will be another match. So that means you've got to watch even longer. But it does mean that I am 0 for 2, which means I am 1 for 0, which improves my standings. Hodor was eliminated in round 1, Blue Turk. Oh, there I am. There I am. Yay! This will probably be the highest I get up on the board. I'm on the second page. And you can see that there's Rory Carroll's, Latan the King, Stickies, Abhorsen. So there were 86 players started this tournament, which legitimately says I've made top 64 because I wasn't eliminated in round 1. Awesome! I have some bragging rights at last. I'm not going to tell people that there was less than 128 people in the tournament. I still made top 64. Hey, I've got to take small victories when I can find them. If I didn't, then I don't know. It's laugh or cry, isn't it? But yes, here we are. It doesn't matter about ranks. I've got through the first round. It looks like there's 7 rounds, and we're half an hour into the tournament. So I now have to entertain you whilst there's nothing happening on the screen, and you'll have to bear with me as I juggle things and do everything else. But I can see that there's a couple of game 3s happening. 1 for 1s and 0 for 1s. Catalonia and Wind seem to be doing okay. Vedmak and Corin. Abhorsen versus the Hoarder. Now that doesn't sound too friendly, does it? But yeah. Anyway, as you saw there, having expensive cards doesn't necessarily grant you wins. I got lucky with one of my draws, both drawing into a shard when I needed to and a crackling sprout when I needed to. That's the way these games go. Sometimes the cards go your way. I have to say that most of the time they don't go my way, but I'm happy when they do, and I'm enjoying myself even if they don't. This is a game after all, and people do take games far too seriously in many ways, and they have to win at all costs, and I'm not one of those kind of people. As you can see, I have quite a low rent deck, but as I've said before, the amount that it costs is only slightly more than a starter deck, and that was buying most of the cards I needed off the in-game auction house, and a couple of the cards were rounded out by the fact that I had them in my collection. Now, as time goes on, the amount of these games coming in, as you can see, a lot of them are completed. It could be that we are just waiting for a couple of people to finish their game 3s and go from there. Now, this does share a lot of background with Magic the Gathering. There are a lot of comparisons. However, with this being a digital only card game, it's very imaginatively done things which Magic can't. With Magic you have to have the cards available to be able to do certain things, which increases the value of certain cards, especially when it comes to search cards, changing cards, cards that can morph into something else. Magic in the real world has had to get far more creative. With this, it can do things like seed extra cards into your decks that help your opponent, such as the Venom decks. They put Spiderling eggs into an opponent, and that's the next eco deck that I'll be making, because I just don't have the money or the wherewithal to get the really expensive blue and red cards just yet. However, if I can get into positions of games like these and I can do relatively well, and to give you an idea, the rewards, if you can get into top 16, you're getting 2 boosters. Now, the reason that comes into its own is the fact that if you've got 2 boosters and some plat, like I've got here, then you can enter the limited formats. And when you've got the limited formats, that means that you're then making decks from cards that are only within what you've pulled. That helps in 2 ways. For me, as a beginning player, I mean the game's what, a year old? Something like that. As a beginning player, This is why I say, don't learn to play from me, learn from my mistakes, because if I'm making them, you're not. Yeah, as a beginning player, it means that you get more bang for your buck. Instead of going, oh yes, I've got 2 boosters, I shall open the 2 boosters and I've now got the cards, put them in my collection. What did I draw again? What was my rare? With the drafting, you've got, especially if you do an evolved gauntlet, which I like, because you pay 100 plat, you've bought your 2 boosters, however you've got them. I'm a VIP subscriber, so I get a booster a week for the monthly payment that I make, and that allows me to make 2 drafts almost for free, which is why I've got plat on my account, and it means that you're entering more tournaments. You've got the chance to win more cards if you do what I do, and as you've seen with the last recording, I crashed out with trying to play the Venom deck in Limited. I lost 3 games straight off. If you get a win, then you get another card pack in your reserves, which means that you're getting more cards, which means that you've got more ability to learn how the cards interact and how it all meshes together. And now, by the looks of it, I think we are just waiting on the 1 game. Yes, everyone else is completed. We are just waiting for Vedmak and Corran to finish. They're in their 3rd game, and then you will be having something extra to watch in terms of gameplay, rather than me just rambling on about nonsense. But yeah, to return back to limited play, it gives you an idea of how certain cards work together and how they mesh together. I hadn't realised until I tried building the Venom deck that how they actually meshed, and how you could actually build some very strong combos using the spiderling eggs. It took me a while to figure out how the spiderling eggs worked, and why it was a good thing to give your opponents cards. Because I'm there thinking, well, if I put something in their deck, surely it's going to benefit them. But it's like seeding their deck with mines. When they pick it up, they take an immediate disadvantage, whether or not it's purely in terms of troop or card advantage. You're also delaying them picking up their own things, and the more you've seeded their deck, then, as I had in one of the games that you can see on YouTube, it actually generated a slew of spiders for them. And I was wrong. It wasn't just Vedmak and Corran. Straight underneath them was Catalonia and Iwind. As you can see, they've just gone from in reserves to game 3, so technically Catalonia and Iwind should be the last ones to finish, because they've just started their game 3. So we'll go from there. Most of the games are pretty quick. You can see how quickly they go through. Admittedly, when we're talking about things like this, then there is a certain amount of downtime, and it's this kind of downtime that I feel puts a lot of people off spectating this kind of e-sport, for want of a better term. At the moment, I can't live stream, but one of the up-and-coming features, I have been led to believe, will be a version where you can view others' games as they play when we're in this kind of situation, which means that someone like me, who is obviously doing this because I love the hobby. I just want to spread the word as far and as wide to as many different options as possible. As soon as I've got the cash, you know, it'll be unboxing of this, unboxing of that, let's have a look at this online game, let's have a look at that online game. I'm limited by money, not so much limited by time anymore, which is why you'll see videos popping up faster and faster, because I've just finished a course and I now have downtime until I start university as a mature student in September. I won't go into all the background as to why I'm a mature student or the rest of it. Suffice to say, I'm a mature student, and I will be going to university in September. So I will then be a poor student, which means money once again is a thing. So I'm just looking to try and spread the word of games that I love. If you wanted to look at my channel, you would find that I've got games like Stardew Valley, which is an almost Harvest Moon clone with some very nice extra bits and pieces and some very clever scripting, aimed at a slightly older audience than the Harvest Moon series. I believe on the PC. You can get it on Steam. It's another game that I'm passionate about because it's something that you can take your time with, you can be nice and relaxed with, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be the best player in the world. There is a video that I have which I called Failing to Succeed, which exemplifies this point dramatically, especially when you take it into consideration with one of the Stardew Valley videos, which is fishing fails, where I absolutely suck at catching fish using the fish minigame in Stardew Valley. There are other things that I've tried. I was trying World of Tanks uploads from the Xbox for a while. Unfortunately, we've got a damaged cable on the capture device which plugs into the Xbox, which means that I can't use Xbox uploads at the moment. As soon as we've got that fixed, as soon as we've got some money to do it, then that will be something, that will be another feature that we add in, and you will see that I will be playing 8 or 9 different games. I was trying to do a Mass Effect playthrough, but that's been kiboshed because of the lead going awry, and wow, Vedmak and Corin really are going at it. They must have something like control decks where they're locking each other down. It's a pity we can't see, because I bet you that'd be a really good match. And this is where you curse me, because I'm not one of those four. I'm me. Take it or leave it. After all, if you watch the videos and you like them, then please subscribe and like the video. At the end of the day, you can see that I'm a tiny, tiny YouTuber. I'm surprised I've got as many subscribers as I have, and it is unfortunate that my count drop is quite low at the moment. And with me saying that, Vedmak and Corin have finished their match, which means that we are just waiting for Catalonia and Iwind. Another thing that I like, if you haven't noticed, is I like to talk about things. I like to talk stream of consciousness. I do all of these shows, and they are totally unscripted, except for the Magic the Gathering Part 2 video that I did, the Magic and Friends, and that was partially scripted through wow, I've just seen one that's only in game 2. Now Power plus Atlas underneath, Atlas and Death. They're in game 2, so 1-0. Well, they're halfway through their time, which means that they're more than halfway through their time. They've had 36 minutes, which means that I've had 18 minutes apiece out of their 30-minute clock. Wow, okay, that was as you can see, even when I'm reading off the screen, I don't always see what's there right in front of my face, and some of you must have been screaming at the screen going, how can you not see that you've got someone who's still in their first game? I just put it down to the fact that I'm getting old. What else is there? I love my games. I have a pile of shame on the Xbox that is 40 games high. Some of it is because I'm trying to get as much completion out of the games as possible. I'm currently heading up towards around about 48% across 122 games. Things like Fable, Fable 2, Sleeping Dogs, Dead Rising Collection. There's one game I've not started yet that's in my pile of shame, which is Fable Anniversaries. So at some point I will be doing a full Fable one, all the way through one to however many there are. Then there's things like Crackdown, Dragon's Dogma, only the first Dark Souls, because I haven't got that far in it. As soon as I've cracked that game open and I start getting better at that, I may well invest in Dark Souls 2 and 3. I don't play a huge amount of shooters, although I do have a Destiny account, and I do play games like Borderlands. And another awesome shooter is... oh, yeah, what is that one called? That's a good one. Drat. Binary Domain. There we go. Just had to look for it there for a moment because I couldn't remember what it was called. I could remember it was about robots. and Hollow Children and lots of fun things like that. As my playtime has increased, I have managed to finally complete the campaign in Final Fantasy 13. So I now have finished the story mode. I've now got all the grinding to go. Although by the end, because I got the growth egg early on, for most of them I've just got to finish off the Crystarium at level 10, which should yield a good 6 achievement points for my endeavours. And then it's just a matter of getting the Treasure Hunter achievement and hunting down things like the 7th Undead Minion and other bits and pieces like the Cold Watch to get a full 5 stars on all of the Seathstone missions. One of the games that I desperately want to get into is LEGO Dimensions. I have been quietly stockpiling the various levels and adventure packs. For the idea for that was so that we could actually do some kind of playthroughs for people that couldn't necessarily afford all of the extra levels. Unfortunately, the person that we had as a playtester might actually have to move, which means we may have lost him. It's a shame, because I'd have been providing commentary, bit of banter as we played through LEGO Dimensions. I've still got most of the LEGO games to get through, apart from the first LEGO Harry Potter, which I've nearly completed. And as we talk, Maupar vs Atlas and Death has actually finished 2-0. So Catalonia and Iwind are certainly going at it for some time. They've both got about 10 minutes left on their clocks, which means that at worst you're going to have me rambling on for another 20 minutes. For which I profoundly apologise, and if you want to find out when the next game is going, then I would suggest skipping ahead in a couple of minute intervals until the 20 minutes is up, just in case there's a problem with one of them having dropped, and trying to desperately to reconnect, because that sometimes does happen. With the best will in the world, the internet can be a little bit pernickety at times, and it could well be that one of them has dropped, and we're waiting for the game clock to run down, which is a pain for me, because it means that I have to wait until such time as there's something loading before I can take a drink of something, which may mean I start coughing anytime soon. If there are things that people want me to talk about, any specific strategies, any particular game, it doesn't matter if you want me to talk about a different game whilst I'm playing Hex. I am perfectly happy to do so, because at the end of the day, the gameplay is what sells people on the game. It's seeing the different cards, seeing how they interact, see how they can do better than I can, and then go, let's hope we can meet Voice of the Forge in a tournament. It's an easy win. And things like that. At the end of the day, to bring more players in, the game will grow. The more that it grows in popularity, the more that it will grow in terms of market share, the more it will impact on games that rest on their laurels and force innovation and competition for the consumer. And this is always a good thing, which is why I was watching with mixed emotions over the last 3 years as we saw Games Workshop heading for calamity with their CEO, who thankfully stepped down just over a year ago and has since revived its fortunes, learnt from the mistakes, and now actually seems to be taking the hobby world back by storm after a rebrand from Games Workshop to Warhammer. The fact they no longer sell Warhammer, because it's now the Age of Icarus? Age of Sigmar. There we go. And they don't tout the 40k quite so much, but it's now sort of like Warhammer Age of Sigmar. They seem to have revised some of the flagging fortunes, and some of the models they're now producing are absolutely fantastic compared to the ones they had with the Finecast, which earned them the reputation of failcast. Things seem to be going in the right direction. Competitors such as War Machine have just hit their 3rd edition, whereas Warhammer I think is in its 8th or 9th, or is it 10th? I forget, there's been so many. And other games such as Infinity, you've got a Batman one, you've got a Necromunda clone. They've all had market share nibbled away, and they're now having to claw it back. which can't be a bad thing, because at the end of the day it means better prices and better deals for the customer. If a company gets too big and too overconfident, then it can be a bad thing for players. Especially, oh, and we're about to start the next round. So it looked like either there was a drop for a few minutes, or they had a really long drawn out game, which means mentally they will be more tired than me. And unfortunately for me, I have just noticed that I have drawn Atlas Undeath. This could be a very fast game, because I have no idea what they're playing. So as we wait to go into the game, once again let's see how the bunnies are doing, and pray to the universe for luck and guidance. And oh look, it's a venom champion, which means I'm going to be facing spiders and spiderling eggs, which will bring home some of what I was talking about before. Now that does not look healthy. Ugh. You know what? It's pulled that much out of my deck. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go for it. We will see whether or not this is the right idea or not. I am drawing first because he has decided to go first, and if I am correct, he will be playing Blood and Wild Shards as opposed to me playing pure Wild. Now he hasn't got anything out on his first turn, and already this is paying dividends, because that was a Bucktooth Commander that I just drew, which means my Cottontail Ronin will be getting bigger, and the fact that I've got a Bunny Concubine in my hand also means that if I can get a keeper of the Wounded Petal, then I could start bringing in big creatures quite quickly. Now he's got nothing out, and this is where the practicality of starting with a large hand full of mana comes into focus, because now I'm drawing mana as well. That limits my ability to do other things, but I will put the Blossoming Concubunny down purely to get it out of my hand and then continue to the next phase. So I've now got two creatures, which gives me an advantage. He has his third shard. He's not playing anything. He's not playing anything. This does not look good for him. However, this does look quite awesome for me, because no, 3. I can play, yes, I can play that, which is 1. No, because that's 2. Yeah, that is awesome for me, because it does mean that I have my kill non-artifact troop. He's just killed the Bucktooth Commander. Yeah, okay, so that's part of his strategy, but he's still not able to take out the Cottontail Ronin, who's now got bigger. So I now have an advantage, and now I need another 1-drop. If I get another 1-drop, then it does mean that I can get a nice big creature out, even though the Bucktooth is dead. And with 4 mana that will do quite nicely, because it means I can go Blossoming Bunny, put it into my hand, which unfortunately I don't have the keeper to trigger off, but it does give me a second bunny, which then means I can then play my big bunny. And I think he's very happy now that he killed off the Bucktooth Commander. And he's killed off the big bunny, but it still leaves him the problem of my rage. No, 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 no. Aww. Did I do something silly there? Yes, I did. I did something silly there. Misclick, misclick. I know, I can hear you shouting at me through the screen. That's probably just cost me the game, because now he's going to put spiderlings. Oh no, he's playing. Oh, five colour, five. Oh, what's he doing? Midnight Paladin, 2/2. With each different threshold you have. Right, okay. So I take damage and you gain life. Oh, what a pity, that's only a 3-away swing. And opponent's turn. My turn. Ooh, that's nasty, because I've now got another guru and I now can't use it properly. He's got life drain. Got to attack. Got to attack. Life drain in these kind of decks is a pain because it outstrips the ability to do damage. Look at the top two cards, one of your hand into the deck. Right, okay, so he's now got those. Now this is the kind of deck where spiderlings would come in handy, because the more cards he draws, the more likely it would be to give me a creature. Unfortunately, oh no! He's got elixir. So that means he's going to have 4 of his 5 thresholds, which then means I can't stop her. And she will just walk through. Now I can see why the last match took so long. He had to get into a position where he could get her with 5 thresholds down before he could do anything. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. However, 1. No, forget that. 2. 3. 4. That's not a bad thing to have. And now you've got something that you need to do, because you've got no mana. And you've got a 5/3 which you know you've got to stop. No, he didn't target the ones I thought he would. And he killed the conky bunny. That didn't have the hopper, and I can now put the hopper in play, and I've now got 2 jump blockers and the big threat. He must be relying on a lot of life gain, high infinitrix, and it's a red card. We have a legendary, life drain, flight, steadfast, 3/4. By the looks of that, he can put hits +1/+1s onto other cards, and then when playing necrotic, put them back on again. Still not game over, but he's put me on a very fast clock. Yeah. Flight, so I can't stop him. Yeah, 3/3 life drain. That will now come flying over. However, he won't have it to block because he can't give it steadfast. And he hasn't attacked. Okay, maybe he's thinking, right, that would be what I wanted elsewhere, but that's now a 2/2. Continue to combat. Got to be thinking, I've got 2 big fatties that he's got to stop. Yeah, he's gonna. He's cutting down on my smaller creatures. I don't know why. Possibly because he's trying to keep his creatures alive. He must have something up his sleeve. You must do. Kill, yeah. That's become too much of a threat. And I've got 8 cards in my crypt. Wow. Okay. Still not got everything that he needs for Lixil, but I'm still on a high. That's now got flight and life drain. That's what he's waiting for. It's now got flight and life drain. 4/4. Yeah. And he's also steadfasted it as well, by the looks of it. Yeah. End opponent's turn. My turn. Oh dear. Can't afford to attack with just the one. As you can see, that is my only blue. Guru of the Wounded Petal. They're the only ones in there that aren't uncommon or rare, so when I say that I have a bunnies eco deck, which doesn't have any rares in, then you can see why. And yeah, High Infinitrix, which is another one of those. Revert the Necrotic, and she can now start the process all over again. Yeah, there we go. The next one's going to have flight. Yeah. I just wasn't able to do damage fast enough. And this is the problem with this deck, is the fact that mid-game it does tend to run out of steam a little bit, but I am a new player. So yeah, look at that, 5, 9, 12 that I can't stop. And all of a sudden, he's not bothered in the slightest. Even though they'll get the Feral Ogre, it's just too little too late. You can afford to take it. I won't drag it out, I shall concede that game. We shall continue to the reserves. So, good news for everybody that's watching is the fact that it's probable that this deck will take me out of the tournament, which will mean that we come to an end without taking 3 hours of your time. However, it is the fact that you won't get to see any more games from me tonight if I am knocked out of the tournament. I'm saying this philosophically because at the end of the day, that was a reasonably close game as far as I was concerned, but given the cards that they were pulling, they may have felt the game was in hand all along because it was playing exactly to their one strength, which is the fact that they can regain life and gain avoidance from my troops very quickly once they have the combo in place. And this is one of the things which is the bane of any card gamer, and that is consistency in decks. As I've said before, this is the first match that I've actually managed to make it past my first played round, so consistently my deck loses. But I also know that my deck loses because I don't have big money cards in the deck. I know that I'm going to lose out to a lot of the blues and a lot of the reds purely because people will have decks built around them, and they can be either very niche in their effect and then utilised well in a deck that is tuned for that niche, or powerful. One thing that I was surprised I didn't see was a Vampire King. Now, a Vampire King is a red card and is incredibly powerful. If I'd have seen one of those hit, I would have apologised and I would have conceded straight away, because there's absolutely no way that you can get an upper hand if someone has dropped one of those on the table, and it could well be that I could be facing one next. So here we go into the second match and see whether or not I can get lots and lots of bunnies out and see if I can get a Runeer Tunneler out, because that would always be nice. Managed to get a Bucktooth and a Runeer out at the same time, and I now have the choice to go first, so I shall take it. And I've got a Bucktooth, I've pulled 2 Gurus, a Cracket and it's risky proposition, but we'll go for it. I say, didn't play any shards, but that's because it wasn't their turn to play shards. Now they're playing shards. Oh, interesting. End opponent's turn. My turn. Yay. It's worked. We've got some bunnies coming in, even if they're only 1/1s. And he's playing with special shards, which give him different abilities. But then the more shards he's got, the better as far as they're concerned. Because if he can get all 5 shards out, then he's got Lixil, who is completely invincible. Oh yes, I can. I don't know what he's going to say to that. I bet you he's... Oh, what's this? Revert and transform into a random artifact, constant or troop with cost of -1. Okay. Hex Geode. Ugh. Yeah, this is one of the things that this can do that no other card game can. It can just simply go through everything and go, look at this. We've got this. Isn't this awesome? And you can't do that unless you've actually got specific cards in play with the physical world card games. So this does have an advantage, and it does allow for a depth of strategy that you wouldn't get elsewhere. And this is a blue troop, so it's rare. It's got flight. It's got -1 for each different threshold you have, and 2. When this deals damage to an opposing champion, go +1/+1, and it's got flight in all zones. Oh my word. And then Arcane Focus. I don't have words. I really don't. Because again, as I've said before, right, 4/4. Right, continue to combat. Stuff it, see what it makes of it. Okay. Right then, what's he going to do this turn? He can hit me for 2, but he doesn't have life drain on that thing yet. It just means I can't stop him. The thing is, he's only got 1 thing out at the moment, and he's got a handful of cards. So I believe that's a charge, which gives him another threshold. And he's got Lixil, the Deathless Gem. And Forgotten Monarch, and yeah, unique, because that means he can only have 1 out, and I can have 1 out at the same time. Right then, this is not nice. This is not nice at all. So he's going to hit me for 2. Yeah. At least he's not gaining life from it, but that's okay. And it's my turn, and the card gods give me another mana, so we'll go towards combat again, and we will attack with those 2 because they're both 2/2s. Meh. Continue to declare defense, see what he does. Excellent. Oh, of course, she's invincible. That's the other thing I don't like about Lixil. Deal lethal combat damage to her, she won't die. Marvellous. But at least I managed to get 2 damage through. End phase, waiting for him to finish. Is he going to do something in my end phase? More than likely going to do something with the thresher. Oh, he's already got all 5 thresholds out. Just waiting for him to end his turn then. So I have an advantage in terms of cards. He can easily start chomping through those. I've got... oh yeah, he's going to hit me for 4 this turn, which... go for it, go for it, go for it. Yeah, only the 2. Interesting. So he's still aware that... and of course... she gets 2. Feral Ogre. Yay. Wild Shard. Yay. I'm doomed. I'm doomed, I'm doomed, I'm doomed. I can't get a Guardian of the Petal out because I need 2 troops to come in at any one time. 17. Do 13. Do... let's hope he thinks I've got something up my sleeve. Yeah, there we go. Anything to keep the life total down. Don't go down without a fight. Keep on swinging. Play for pride. That's the idea. Play for pride. And what have we got now? Cosmic Shaman 6. Life Drain Prophecy. When the Centers plays, the next troop in your deck gets all socketed powers of this. Prophecy, when this dies, the next troop in your deck gets all socketed powers of this. Ruby, when this enters play, it deals damage equal to its attack to target opponent champion. So when it enters play, it does 5 damage to me, unless it's bigger. No, 5 damage, bang. Yeah. And he gains the life because he's got life drain. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Oh well. He's, yeah, attacked with those 2. That's 8 damage gone. That's now 7. And 7. Boo. That's all I can say to that. Yeah. No point in me attacking. It's a good game. Show my appreciation for a game well fought. And he's got me over a barrel. There's no way I can win. But I did keep him at bay for a little while. Unfortunately, I haven't seen many cards that were not blue in that deck. Completely outclassed, but that's the game. So, I've taken up enough of your time. I thank you for your patience, and hopefully I will see you again watching more Hex as I play, and hopefully you will see me improve with time. Thank you for your patience, thank you for watching. If you like what you've seen and heard, then please subscribe and like the video. Thank you once more, and good night.